All right, you strength worshipping warriors, prepare for paradox. The exact skills that got you promoted are now your career's ticking time bomb. Around 70% of executives fail not from lacking strengths, but because their greatest strength became their fatal weakness. Your meticulous attention to detail that made you a superstar analyst, it is now blinding you to big picture opportunities. That decisive leadership that rocketed your rise, it's morphed into dictatorial deafness that's destroying your team. Hello, I'm Todd Hagopian, the original Stagnation Assassin, CEO of Stagnation Assassins, and the executive director of the Stagnation Intelligence Agency. As always, this will be a fast paced, bold, in your face episode where we help teach all of the aspiring stagnation assassins out there how to declare war on stagnation. If you have issues with strengths that have secretly transformed into weaknesses, in this podcast you will discover systematic weakness inoculation to develop minimal incompetence in fatal areas. How Jack Welch nearly destroyed GE's innovation with cost cutting brilliance, and the weakness warning system that will prevent strength from becoming sabotage. Let me paint you a portrait of paradoxical peril. Your greatest strength isn't just an asset, it's also an Achilles heel wearing a superhero cape. Every strength creates a corresponding shadow, a blind spot bigger than a billboard that everyone sees except you. I've seen detail-oriented executives who could spot a decimal error in a 1,000-page report, but couldn't see the strategic tsunami about to sink their company. Their strength and precision became weakness in perspective. They were so busy counting trees that they missed the forest fire. There was this brilliant cost cutter. He ended up becoming CEO of a consumer goods company. His superpower, finding efficiency everywhere. He cut costs like a samurai with a spreadsheet, improving margins magnificently. The problem was he cost cut the company into irrelevance. He eliminated R&D waste. He reduced marketing excess, streamlined away everything that made them special, and 5 years later, the company was sold for parts because efficiency excellence had murdered their innovation. He's the horrifying human truth. We double down on our strengths when threatened. Analytical people become more analytical when they need to be intuitive. Decisive leaders become more dictatorial when they need to listen. It's like trying to escape quicksand by sinking faster. The research reveals this: about 70% of executive derailments come from unaddressed weaknesses, not lack of strengths. These aren't incompetent people, they're highly competent people whose competence has become their kryptonite. The very thing that made them special now made them stupid. Jack Welch at GE exemplified this perfectly. His legendary focus on efficiency and shareholder value created short-term success, but planted seeds of long-term destruction. He was so good at cutting costs that he cut GE's ability to innovate. His strength in financial engineering weakened real engineering. By the time he left, GE was a hollow giant, impressive on spreadsheets but weak in reality. But here's the really repulsive revelation. Organizations reinforce these imbalances. If you are great at analysis, they give you more analytical work. If you're decisive, they put in more command positions. They'll literally helping you overdevelop your strength until it becomes a spectacular weakness. I've done this myself. Another executive I heard about was a legendary relationship builder. His strength, making everyone valued and heard. His weakness, he could not make a tough decision because he wanted everyone happy. He turned strategic planning into group therapy, board meetings into friendship circles. The company needed a warrior. They had a wedding planner. His empathy strength became execution weakness. Detail demons destroy strategic thinking. Speed demons destroy thoughtful analysis. People demons destroy necessary hardness. Every strength, overdeveloped inappropriately, becomes its own destruction. So it's time for some systematic weakness inoculation. You don't need to become great at everything. Just develop minimum competence in your fatal flaw areas. First, identify your Achilles patterns. What's the shadow side of your superpower? If you're incredibly analytical, your weakness is probably intuitive decision making. If you're a natural visionary, your weakness is likely operational execution. One CEO discovered his strength in strategic thinking created weakness in people management. He could see the future, but he could not see his team falling apart. Deliberate discomfort training forces you to practice what you're pathetic at. An analytical CFO forced himself to make 3 intuitive decisions weekly. No spreadsheets allowed. First week was torture. By month 3, he developed enough intuition to spot opportunities analysis alone would miss. What is a weakness warning system? Weakness warning systems create early alerts. Build a complementary team that compensates for your shadows. One detail-obsessed executive hired a chief strategy officer whose job was to challenging his microscopic focus. She'd literally interrupt presentations saying, "You're in the weeds again. What's the big picture?" Create intellectual humility habits. Schedule regular weakness workouts where you deliberately practice what you're bad at. A speed-focused CEO instituted slow thinking Thursdays where rush decisions were banned. He had to sit with uncertainty, analyze deeply, consider consequences. It was agony initially, but he saved himself from spectacular failures. Jack Welch's cautionary tale teaches the critical lesson. Even legendary strengths need balancing. Imagine if he'd balanced efficiency with innovation investment, financial engineering with real engineering. GE might still be a powerhouse instead of a cautionary tale. The 70-30 rule works wonders. Spend 70% of the time using strengths, but 30% of developing minimum competence and weakness. Again, you're not trying to fix them. Develop minimum competence. You're not trying to transform these weaknesses into strengths. That's impossible and unnecessary and a waste of time. You're developing just enough capability to prevent catastrophic failure. But here's the counterintuitive catalyst. Acknowledging weakness paradoxically strengthens your position. Leaders who openly discuss their shadows earn more trust than those pretending perfection. One executive started meetings saying, "I tend to rush decisions. Please push back if I'm moving too fast." His transparency transformed his team's dynamic. Complementary partnerships compensate brilliantly. Steve Jobs' vision needed Tim Cook, operations. Walt Disney, creativity, needed Roy Disney, business. Recognize that you're half genius and find your other half. A visionary entrepreneur partnered with an operations expert, and together they built what neither alone could. Now remember, go ahead and visit toddhagopian.com for some awesome free content on slaying stagnation. Or go straight to the source and visit the world's largest stagnation slaughterhouse at stagnationassassins.com. Make sure to sign up for updates, follow me on socials, buy our books, do all the things. But most importantly, tune in next time as we continue to declare war on stagnation. Your strength shadow assignment for the week: identify your greatest professional strength. Now write down its shadow side. What weakness does it create? This week, practice that weakness for 30 minutes a day. If you're analytical, make some gut decisions. If you're speedy, slow down deliberately. Track how uncomfortable it makes you. That discomfort is growth. Remember, your greatest strength, unchecked, becomes your greatest weakness. So what shadows are you ready to shine some light on? Thanks, folks. Looking forward to talking to you next week.